Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Speed Gaming. Speed Gaming Live 2020 concluding today. We've got a special one for you right here. The conclusion of the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Tournament. DylanMeeble versus TheSaltySponge. One of these runners is gonna come away the champion. The other in second place. No matter what, they're going home with some money in their pocket. Let's get hype. I'm August 40th, joined by Namaha. How you doing, sir?
Doing very well, thank you so much. And yeah, this is going to be an amazing race. These guys are crazy good runners at this game.
Yep. You yourself, I saw, witnessed with my own eyes, were in one of these seats last year. Happy to have you in the commentator's booth with you.
Happy to
with
be
me.
here. A little sad I'm not playing in the finals again this year, but it's okay. I was unfortunately slain by finalist DylanMeeble, so if he wins, I can at least say that I went out to the winner of the tournament, just like last year, huh?
Yeah. But that was kind of a back and forth between the two of you. Kind of exciting. Anyone who missed those races would encourage you to check out the VOD.
That was a fun race, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun couple of races.
Oh, for sure.
But looks like we're starting off with the Spirit Medallion. Anyone new to this tournament and not sure what's going on, the 3 spiritual stones are going to open up Ganon's Castle. The Spirit Medallion and the Shadow Medallion give us Ganon's Castle's boss key. And looks like we are raring to go.
Indeed. Yeah, and that renders the Light Medallion completely useless in these settings. Don't need that guy at all for anything. Unlocks absolutely nothing. The Forest, Fire, and Water Medallions we also don't necessarily need to beat the game, but they do unlock songs that we might end up needing. We'll see. And we're off here. Both runners going to be heading... Well, actually, we're going to see a split right away, looks like. Dylan's heading right into Mido's house as Salty heads up towards the Kokiri Sword Steps.
And we got a salty
frozen right away. What a foolish man Dylan is.
Yeah, we got a salty salmon pink and a mint green tunic here on Dylan's side. Finding Riddle's letter.
Fan of double frozen. Mido being a little rude today. But hey, the Rudo's letter's nice.
And a pack and nut upgrade.
That's great to start with. Dylan's going to pick that up as well. So 30 nuts right off the bat. For anyone that doesn't know, Deku Nuts are basically the most powerful item in this game. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that they are actually incredibly strong.
Yep, Stalfos, Dark Link, Lizalfos, they're your best friend.
Oh, even Ganon, Phase 1, you can beat him with Deku Nuts.
Yeah, meme percent.
Alright, we'll see if we're going to get any diversions here. There's a couple of ways they could opt to open here. It's a little dry on money, this seed, so we probably won't see either of our runners head into Deku Tree, just because they would need to farm up so many rupees to be able to buy enough sticks and the Deku Shield required. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a South Hyrule play. To check that open grotto there, and then heading to the lake to take the owl back up to the market. This will set their time of day nicely to continue the 3-song route that is pretty standard for these settings.
Unfortunately, that Rudo's letter not opening up any checks for these guys without some explosives or a silver scale.
Yeah, unfortunately, no way to put that to use. See if they get something early. It looks like both runners are opting to go into the South Hyrule field.
And we've seen that DylanMeeble quite often this tournament do some early Gerudo Valley plays. So gonna be looking for that one as well. Especially considering they didn't go into the Deku Tree. It's still early morning here in Hyrule Field.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, that's not actually the Zora tunic, it's just a randomly colored Kokiri tunic. So tunic colors, and as you can see, the heart colors in the upper left, a couple other cosmetic things are going to be randomized as well.
Yep, up to the racer's own preference, as well as things like sound effects. Seems like Dylan is pretty vanilla on sound. You have any favorite sound effects you like to spice up your seed with?
Oh, the weep is always a classic. I tend to not randomize too many of the sound effects, just because I like to rely on sound cues for some things. They can be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
But for some, it just doesn't matter. Like I like randomizing the horse sound in particular. That can lead to some great moments.
Yep. I've been watching races like, wait, where is that? What is making that sound? Oh, the horse.
We're getting a hint here for... Oh, a second hint. I actually forgot. I wasn't paying attention to the grotto hint.
Grotto hint was Hyrule Castle Way of the Hero. That was outside Gaden's Castle Foolish.
Perfect.
And I'm tracking here, but I'm unmuting myself to say real quick that we did have a brief fair play call where DylanMeeble had a bit of a VC crash in about 20 minutes from now. They'll be paused for a couple minutes just to up, and then they'll be going again. Not too long. I just counted them off again, but we'll see that in about 20 minutes.
Gotcha.
So around 21, 22 minutes in is about when we'll see the crashed.
Dylan's having a heck of a time with these VC crashes, I swear.
I know, right?
I think his past 3 races he's had one. In at least one of the races against him that I had, he had a VC crash. I'm pretty sure he had one last night also.
Yeah, he crashed last night in semis. He said something about 2 crashes in this turn already. Let's not have a third. Well, it wasn't too much of a loss. He only lost like a couple of minutes to it. They were paused very briefly. But it is something to consider. It looked like they were paused for about 5 minutes, so not too much.
Yeah, well, we have that FPA for a reason. It would kind of suck to win against your opponent just because they happen to have a crash that they have no control over. So,
yep, Lost Woods is foolish, Fox 2 is dead, and Burning Cactus Serenade.
Did you say Lost Woods? Oh, Lost Woods is foolish. It's a pretty good one. That kills the Skull Mask check as well.
That is a lot of checks that is eliminated right there.
Love to see that early.
Checks too.
A lot of early checks and some late game checks too, which is even better just because it means you never have to go back there for child cleanup in the late game.
Oh yeah.
And Ganon's Castle is way of the hero. Despite starting with a spirit medallion, we are going to go inside of there for something.
So we got to get all of our stones to acquire some item to either get our shadow medallion or our light arrows. That's going to be what that way of the hero is pointing to.
Yeah, both
and
castles.
Given the version of the randomizer, that is not going to be pointing to our light arrows, thankfully. And
not directly to the light arrows. It can be an item that leads to our light arrows.
And this is shaping up to be an exciting matchup. That is precisely one of the reasons why we chose these settings, is to try to increase the viability of Ganon's Castle.
Yeah, I think I've heard some numbers thrown around, like it's about 15% of seeds in these settings will have Ganon's Castle required in some way.
Yeah, that is the number I've heard floating around. It looks to me like the TheSaltySponge in a very slight lead.
Yep.
A couple of seconds. Not by much.
Well, perhaps not actually. Well, Sponge is going to be doing a trick to do this jump without having to push both blocks. Unfortunately, backflips off, just for some good luck, probably.
And they will be picking up
the jump.
First song along with Zelda's Letter. Let's see what Impa's teaching us this seed. And, hey, is this even randomized? What's going on?
Vanilla ZL to start it off. Very nice.
That opens up a whole bunch of stuff for us, as well as an extra song in the graveyard early on for Adult Link.
Yeah, and that's going to take care of the way of the hero for that Hyrule Castle, which is a little boring and a little unnecessary to say. Zelda's Lullaby is basically required in almost every seed.
Yeah, just one of the reasons why moving forward in Season 4, Zelda's Lullaby will not be able to be Way the Hero, just like our light arrows.
Yeah, that'll be a nice change for sure. So both of our runners continuing with the 3-song route, heading into Lon Lon now. Gonna be catching some chickens before heading off to see Malin to get their second song here.
Now let's see who comes out of here first with a wedding proposal.
Well, this far looking like Dylan's the better cock wrangler today.
Yep. And just the recovery art, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
But
anything
with all these quick Sphere Zero checks, don't hesitate to come into the ranch. But neither one going for the Skulltula, no sticks, but you can whack it with a pot.
And Song of Storms as our second song. Alright.
ZL Song of Storms.
Two very powerful songs to start it off with.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that we're gonna be a child for just a little bit longer than average.
For sure, for sure. So Storms and Zelda's Lullaby could signal an early play into bottom of the well. The only thing they really lack to full clear that dungeon at this point is some form of explosives. But it's a pretty dense area, and having access to it this early could cause them to dip that in their child one.
Yeah,
it'll likely depend on us finding explosives for that to be a realistic possibility. I can't imagine either of them would go in without explosives unless it's nearing the end of their, available checks.
Yep, surprisingly, just 3 checks that are bomb locked in there, right? But explosives really can make or break your well play.
For sure, yeah. You don't want to go in there, get all the items except for the bomb locked checks, and then realize an hour or two later that your go mode item is just in there locked by those explosives. So
yeah.
All of these runners have had things like that happen in the past, so they're going to be very wary of that and probably avoid going to the well without those bombs, like we said. So both runners looking like they're going to be heading into Deku Tree. Not surprising at all. It's a very early, large amount of checks.
Yeah, early on, neck and neck.
Yeah, Toxic. I always enjoy watching Sponge get up, literally stand up and walk away off camera to reset his console.
It's good to stand up and stretch your legs.
Yeah, for sure. So Dylan's going to be grabbing these hints. I know Sponge sometimes will skip these. It looks like he's going to be getting them as well, though. At least this one on the left. And we're going to see Dodongo's Cavern Way of the Hero. Our third Way of the Hero hint of 5 total that we'll be getting today. And both of our runners are going to be going all the way around the tree. Cool. And no one's going to be left in the dark by the hints here today.
And no one's going to do the fancy right side hop strat.
Big pose. Leads to nothing, okay.
No ghost busting.
Yep, not today.
Dylan maintaining his 5 or 6 second lead inside. Let's see if he can maintain that throughout.
Sponge is definitely making meta plays here. By doing things that he knows that Dylan often does. And hey, speaking of explosives, our very first check in Deku Tree, given some bomb shoes.
Out of logic.
Gonna have to wait until, out of logic explosives for sure, but our runners don't care about logic.
No, it's gonna give them. It's not gonna give
stop.
them the availability into the well.
Yep, that is now full clearable for them. And if they make an early bottom of the well play, who knows? We might see an early chickens play too, perhaps.
Yep. I wouldn't be too surprised with the TheSaltySponge on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, he had a race not too long ago that came down to those chickens, so who knows? Maybe he'll keep up with those meta plays.
And remember, with the Lost Woods Foolish, out after the Deku Tree, it's just a quick trip to the Sacred Forest Meadow. And after that, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Child Goron City going up to Death Mountain Trail and routing in the well that direction.
I was about to say, yeah, that would be a great option for them to get towards Kakariko to do the well. With those bomb chews, they can sneak their way into the Goron City through that shortcut, and even do a couple of checks in there.
Very
both the spinning pot and the hot rodder Goron. Of course, we haven't seen how many bomb chews they've gotten. If it's only the 5-pack, they might opt to skip that and conserve the chews for the Way of the Hero Dodongo's Cavern.
Yeah, very true, very true.
But if it's a 20-pack, then you can kind of go buck wild with that. And they're just gonna get another pack of bomb chews. Okay, forget everything I said. They have at least 15 bomb chews right now. That's the minimum you can have with 2 packs. So they're gonna have pretty much free reign to check as many explosives checks as they want.
Yeah, commentator's blessing right there. Not much reaction from our racers, but they're definitely happy to find 2 chews.
Alright, well, not much else here in the Deku Tree besides those packs of chews, but we're going to see here in the basement chest if that changes. And I'm also curious if either of these runners are going to pick up the Skulltulas here. They might opt to conserve their sticks. And potentially time. It looks like they are going to skip.
Yeah,
both of them setting up flame storage before jumping down. And we're going to see 2 different B1 skip methods here. Tsundere skip on the left, and a more standard B1 skip on the right.
Yeah, very quick, but DylanMeeble showcasing ever so slightly a quicker one.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Meeble going to be our first runner here into the Deku, or the boss of Deku Tree, Queen Goma. Setting up that broken stick nice and quick as he backwalks into the arena.
Now 15-minute mark, exactly as he's walking into the chamber. Only check that is out of logic without a slingshot. Way too easy for DylanMeeble. SaltySponge right behind him.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Queenie, what you got for us today? Just a blue rupee. Let's see if this dungeon reward is required. How crazy would it be if it was the Shadow Medallion, knowing that Ganon's Castle's Way of the Hero?
Not crazy about
it though. It's gonna be a stone. Okay, yeah, it's the Zora Sapphire.
Yeah, we're looking for either that Shadow Medallion or a stone, and we got one. So not looking like a bad start in terms of our dungeon rewards, but in terms of items, not looking great.
Yeah, very true. We still have no idea how many bomb chews these runners have. That was Spirit Temple Foolish, right? And 40 skulls. Okay.
It was. I wasn't sure if Dylan was close enough to that grotto to trigger that, but he knows better than I do. But
yeah, I think the radius is quite generous for Song of Storms grottos. You can be surprisingly far away and still have them trigger.
Except the one by the Gerudo Valley tent.
That one can be a little...
trolls me every time.
And it's a 30 count of bomb chews, the most they could possibly get from 2 bomb chew pickups. That we found the 20-pack. There's one 20-pack in the pool, 1 5-pack, and like what, 4 10-packs, something like that, 3 or 4.
Yeah, something like that. There's our Skull Mask hint.
Skull Mask hint, which is a little redundant given the Lost Woods is foolish. That already covers that.
Yeah, but SaltySponge not forgetting, hey, the chest in there isn't gonna help me, but the hint stone might.
Mm-hmm. And I think you can still sometimes find useful things in foolish locations. Like I think the Goron sword can show up there, for example.
Yes, sirree. Or something like a free shield.
Very true, yep. And even bomb chews, surprisingly, since they're not considered in logic for the randomizer, they can also show up in foolish locations. So
yeah, unfortunately, we saw a dungeon foolish, so I would be pretty surprised if we also saw a Deku Tree foolish. But we didn't really
actually, I
find
think we found all three of our hints, right? We have outside Ganon's Castle, Lost Woods, and Spirit Temple. So. Doing quite well on hints for only being 18.5 minutes in.
And unfortunately, that song not too helpful. It does open one last check in Goron City, so almost certainly gonna see them go that direction.
For sure, yeah, that lets them full clear Child Goron City even, so I would not be surprised at all to see both runners go in there. I believe that was another Dodongo's Cavern Way of the Hero, was that hint stone?
Yep. Two more up on top of the maze.
So each hint is duplicated at least once. So if we find a third copy of that Dodongo's Cavern Way of the Hero, that means that there are 2 required items in there. Actually, we're seeing a Lake Hylia Way of the Hero there.
Yep.
Oh, and there's the VC crash that we were warned about. Okay.
And not doing anything. Yeah, he didn't do anything but was looking for some change in the grass.
Poor guy. Alright. So he shouldn't have too much to catch up on, hopefully. Sponges gets to sit there paused and wait for Dylan to get back where he was. And then we'll get going with this race. So where do you think they're going to be going next after finishing up this 3-song route? They have a couple options, and well, I think we're going to see an extended child section from both of them. The Explosives, the Ruto's Letter, the Song of Storms, and Zelda's Lullaby. That all opens up a ton of checks as child, so...
Yeah, I imagine we'll see one, if not both of them, go make that Goron City play up Death Mountain Trail, down to Kakariko, into the bottom of the well. Might stop off into the graveyard for the extra song, do some flame storage, and then route up Zora's River.
That's what I'm hoping they'll do after that. Yeah, they can turn that Ruto's Letter in. They won't actually even know if it's required to do that until they check the pedestal to see what medallions are required, but I still think it would be a smart play for them to get that out of the way, just because it opens up the possibility to go to Ice Cavern as well.
Yeah, just get it all done. Hopefully, ideally, right, you'd find your boomerang on the way and maybe just clear out Jabu Jabu. Would you make that call without seeing the pedestal?
I'm not sure I would. But who knows? Maybe these runners will. We'll see.
It would definitely be a gutsy one.
Yes, indeed. Oh, and another thing that they have to consider is that Lake Hylia Way of the Hero that they just found, or Sponge is about to find, I think.
Right.
Because they might opt to plant a magic bean down there, because that unlocks 2 checks in the lake as adult. And if either of those checks lock their first hook shot, then it's going to be 100% required for them to plant that bean. So we might be seeing that.
One of my very first seeds, my first logical hook shot was up on the lab roof. You never forget your first.
That's right.
Ah, man. Bean seeds are always legendary, as they are known. Handled earlier today, actually, of a different variety where they had to, because beans only lock a handful of checks in the game. Hammer was on the Colossus Edge earlier. That was funny. But it looks like they should be catching up here again shortly.
Yep.
Dylan
just popping to say that
Dylan
primarily.
Just saw that. He was right around here, I think, right? Or had
just
he
about at the entrance, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
So they'll be starting in about another 30, going again in about another 30 seconds once I set them off.
Yeah. Now, to note, he did open up that Wolfos Grotto. Didn't re-kill those Wolfos because it was nothing important inside. So he's caught up to his progress.
Yes, because with FPA, you are allowed to catch back up to where you were. You're not allowed to do any additional checks, but you can skip the junk checks that were nothing previously.
Right.
Get us back to the action as soon as possible.
Should be happening pretty quickly here.
So good news on the rupee count. They don't have too much, but they don't need to buy anything.
Nope, no need for the scrubs in Lost Woods, because that's foolish.
Dylan giving that beard a good luck stroke. But before we get into the action, this is the perfect opportunity. Make sure you give these racers a follow. Without them racing the race, we wouldn't have the race to watch being raced.
Well said.
Dylan showing off his rhythmic talents.
And we're off. All right. So Sponge just now seeing that Lake Hylia hint. We'll see if that influences his routing decisions from here. No doubt he's been thinking while Dylan was catching up what he's going to be doing. So that Lake Hylia way the hero might have shaken up his plans that he was formulating in the downtime.
Yeah, if only.
So we can see finally.
Yeah,
DylanMeeble heading into Goron City.
If only SaltySponge had paused a couple seconds later.
Yeah, exactly. He would have had more info. Slightly unfortunate, maybe, but who knows? Maybe he's just sticking to.
He's skipping the city. He's going to the river.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that with the ability to full clear it this early. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not at all surprised to see Dylan in here. I'll say that. Well, we'll see if it pays off. And hey, immediate payoff for Dylan picking up that bomb bag. Not a huge deal, potentially, because of how many chews they've been given this early, but the bomb bag does actually unlock 2 checks in the market in that bomb chew bowling minigame, so if there's a required item on there, then it could be huge that Sponge skipped this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sponge is coming up the river thinking this is in logic. Dylan is going to have info to the contrary.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like you said, with 30 chews, these runners would have been satisfied not to find the bomb bag for another hour or 2.
Oh yeah, Sponge is still fine on the explosive count front. 30 chews is enough to check basically everything. And another bomb bag! Holy cow! 2 of the bomb bag here at Child Goron City. Can we go for 3? Come on, Hot Rodder.
That would be incredible.
That would be something else, huh?
Yeah, it's a tournament seed with 2 strength upgrades in Zor's domain.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is something else. Let's see if the Goron Maze is another hype maze. Dylan setting up for a death warp, getting a strength upgrade. Wow.
Very nice, okay. This is a very profitable adventure here into Goron City.
Yeah, opening up way here to Dongo's Cavern. But likely still to venture inside the bottom of the well.
Yeah, I wonder how the runners are going to respond. Goron Tunic for Sponge, that's a nice little fashion upgrade, but not really going to help them get any new checks, unfortunately. But yeah, like you were saying, Dodongo's Cavern being completely in logic is certainly interesting. Especially since it's the hero.
There's our hint for 30. I think that's one of our first Skulltula hints.
I think we've seen 40 as well. Oh, and a Vanilla Bosky and Water Temple. Is that hint?
It's always good to know. Chances are you can find 2 small keys pretty quickly before you drain the water, or as you drain the water. Hello.
Oh, and Sponge getting a scale. That's an amazing find for him. That's gonna just clean up his routing ability so well.
Yeah,
Because now he can take that shortcut into the lot. He was popping off a little bit if you saw his player cam. That's a big find, honestly, for how unimportant silver scales can seem. This is actually gonna help Sponge a lot.
yeah, big smile from the Salty Sponge. That's what we like to see.
That scale might even be required. We do have Lake Hylia Way of the Hero, and one of very few checks in the game that a silver scale unlocks is right there in Lake Hylia, so we're actually going to be seeing that pretty shortly. It's Sponge will clean up the checks here in Zora's Domain, then likely take that shortcut into Lake Hylia.
Unfortunately,
we'll that epic bean as well. Like this is really, really fortunate for Sponge to have picked that scale up.
Unfortunately, for him with those shoes, he's not going to be missing those bomb bags, and he can get the strength upgrade as an adult.
Yep, very true. DylanMeeble is waiting for nighttime over here, by the way. He's going to be able to get Dampe done and likely do bottom of the well. He's taking the route we were discussing earlier, where he went into Child Goron City and then down here to do bottom of the well.
I'm doing some spider farming as well. Gonna prioritize these and Dampe over those pesky chickens.
And we'll see where Dylan goes after the well. Hopefully for his sake he goes upriver. He'll pick up that scale and be able to turn in Ruta's letter as well. But we'll see, He might opt to go adult and continue into Way of the Hero to Dongo's cabin. It might all just depend on what he finds here in bottom of the well.
Yeah,
and of course,
my banana senses are tingling. Hey, there's a fish. Hey, that would be even...
Hey.
You don't even have to jump down and get a fish.
Yeah, that's a nice little convenience item, honestly, if they end up having to do Jabu. We've got a King Zora dead hint. Okay.
Nice.
Somewhat unfortunate. I always enjoy when that check can sneak into a race.
Yeah, you love to see the paradox letter.
Oh yeah.
Whoops.
That's not gonna work, Dylan. There we go.
Yeah, really conserving those sticks, just 2 to his name.
Yeah, at this point, since he's got the bomb back, he can afford to be reckless with the chews and conserve the sticks. So he's not quite able to get up to 10 here, but increasing his his skull count by quite a bit, which will be nice if they end up being required. We'll see. But he is going to head into the graveyard before doing bottom of the well.
Oh, well, Salty Sponge's stick problems are over. Finding the Kikiri sword there in the domain.
That's always nice to find.
And
the mirror shield. A sword and a shield. How nice.
Yeah. Looks like the Zora are arming up the Salty Sponge better than the Kokiri.
Yeah, that's right.
Although they did give them the letter to maybe
and
point
there's
them
a
in
hook
that
shot.
direction.
Our Way of the
Hey,
Hero
yo.
in Lake Hylia. Requiring that
certainly.
scale. Very nice. Bit of a pop-off there from Sponge. Heck yeah. Alright. So,
Heck yeah.
it's going to be very important for Dylan that he goes up the river after this trip in Nightcack. And honestly, without Sunsong, he needs to wait for time of day anyway, so that's basically his only good option. So, I'm not going to be surprised at all to see Dylan go upriver after this.
Certainly not. With that Scarecrow song, Salty is set to clear out almost all the rest of the lake. Gonna do some fishing. Dylan grabs the Sun Song, second vanilla song. What's going on?
Okay.
Third vanilla song,
Okay.
never mind.
So he actually doesn't need to potentially use time of day in the river, so maybe he will go back adult. We'll see.
And we might see chickens.
I think it would be a mistake still, but I have the knowledge that he needs to go upriver,
Yeah.
I guess. But I would have thought that regardless, I swear.
I mean, it seems like the logical play to me. It's just,
Yeah,
you
for
don't know
sure.
where your opponent's at. You don't know if they've gotten a whole bunch of stuff out of Kakariko or Dodongo's Cavern.
The way of the Hero Dodongo's Cavern could be influencing his decision here pretty hard.
A very convenient Sun Song in the graveyard.
Yep, gonna put that to use right away with the only check that it unlocks.
And the SaltySponge gonna visit our owl friend Gay Bora Bora.
We'll see. Does he go adult here? I would think so, with that hook shot especially, and the ability to clear away the Dodongos. Like, I think it makes sense for Sponge to go adult here and not worry about bottom of the well.
Yeah, like you said, he's
And another
he's a metagamer.
In the crate!
Oh, wow.
What the heck?
Very nice pickup. Or not pickup, but good info.
It is good info. It's probably not going to matter if Dylan goes upriver, but honestly, that might push him to go to the river even if he ends up seeing the hook shot before he's. Is that the boomer? Wait, okay, no, that was a stick, I think. I was trying to see what item was in the windmill.
Yeah. As I was saying, SaltySponge being a bit of a metagamer might have been thinking, all right, I know Dylan's going to go into Goron City. I'm going to do Zora's River. He's gotten that progression. He might be thinking, all right, I have a little bit of a lead on my adult stuff here with that free shield and a hook shot.
Chat helping us out here. That was a bow in the windmill. Very nice.
The other kind of stick.
Yeah, a curved stick with a string on it. Sponge coming back into Way of the Hero Castle to clean that up. Get the Din's Fairy check done. That's a smart play. The Way of the Hero is probably fulfilled with Zelda's Lullaby, but hey. I believe he had this check bite him in the butt quite recently, so maybe he's got that race on his mind.
Yeah, recency bias.
Yeah, you don't want it to affect you, but it does. And
hey,
look
hell.
at that! Get
wow.
it, boomerang!
Oh,
Wow!
So
wow,
that is definitely going to affect his routing. I can imagine checking the pedestal if Jabu's required. He's going to make a beeline that way.
Yeah, it's slightly unfortunate in that he was just there in domain and he just handed in the letter. But even if he had gotten the boomerang ahead of time, nice strength 2 pickup from Dylan, by the way, in the well. What was I saying? Even if he had the boomerang, he might not have opted to go inside Jabu until knowing that the dungeon reward is required. Because that's a bit of a time commitment for something that might not be needed.
Yeah.
Like a Zora tunic in the coffin there, by the way. Dylan not going to pick that up, which makes sense. It's not really required for anything.
Yeah, already up to 6 hearts.
Yeah, and that's plenty to do what the Zora tunic would be helpful for. The one check-in water temple.
Worst case scenario, he's got a couple bottles.
And we're going to be getting a pedestal check here from Sponge. Get to find out our dungeon requirements.
Yeah, really looking for that Jabu's Belly. Forest?
Forest not required.
Fire.
Light medallion we don't need. And Jabu is a stone, so that's a good pickup from Sponge.
Water Temple being our Shadow Medallion. That's going to give us our boss key for Ganon's Castle.
Yeah, so that way the hero in Ganon's Castle likely going to be for either the long shot or the iron boots, I would expect. Some way to clear the water temple.
Yep, extremely likely. Or something to get your light arrows. That's the other potential.
So this is, yeah, we're looking like all 3 spiritual stones are just shuffled amongst themselves. They're from the child dungeon rewards. We had the sapphire from Deku Tree, And then Dodongo's Cavern and Jabu are given our other 2.
Wow, we're looking at quite the jet seed depending on that other hook shot. We have a gold scale, so we might not even need iron boots.
That's a good point. Yeah, that Ganon Castle Way of the Hero might not matter at all if it is for the iron boots. Since the iron boots and the gold scale sort of fill a similar purpose in that you need them to get into and beat the water temple.
Yeah.
So that could just be some logical bait that throws our runners off. Or it could be for our long shot and they need to beat the game. We'll see. It's random.
It's just 40 minutes in. It's looking like a nice seed, but you never know with Rando, especially the Ocarina of Time randomizer.
So, what all are we needing to beat the seed here? We need to beat Dodongo's Cavern, Jabu, and Water Temple. So Sponge is... if that Ganon Castle is for iron, or is for Longshot, then Sponge is nearly done, right? He'll just need to find magic and light arrows.
Yeah, he hasn't seen the gold scale yet. He's about to.
Yeah, and we
that'll
still
put
have
him in long shot mode or long shot and bow mode.
Yeah, we might just get our magic inside Way of the Hero Dodongo's Cavern and then be on our way to go mode here.
Yeah, I guess with the long shot he'd be in bacon mode. Never used that term before.
And we do know, I was just talking about this bottom of the well from Dylan. He's only found strength 2 so far, which we know Spirit Temple is barren, so that strength 2 isn't necessarily going to matter too much, unless it's for the Ganon's Castle Way of the Hero for Light Trial. There's a decent chance of that being the case, to be fair, where they end up using all 3.
SaltySponge seen his bow and probably a little bit speechless.
Yeah, I bet.
Most of the seeds ranging kind of between 220 and like 3.5 hours this tournament.
Song of Time is actually a song they're probably going to be happy to see, because it can be required to beat the Water Temple.
Yeah, yep. But no warp songs early on. But Dylan done with the well, getting that strength upgrade, but not too great given our dungeon layout. But he will be excited as soon as he goes up the river and does those checks. Let's see if he opts to clear Hyrule Castle Way of the Hero as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think this seed is going to come down to that. If he doesn't check that before going back adult, he's not gonna be happy. And there's a Megaton Hammer pickup. Wait, did Dylan not do Shield Grave when he was in the graveyard as child?
Oh, yikes.
I think
yeah,
he autopiloted right past that. Whoops. I mean, it's not gonna affect his child route. You can't use the hammer as child, but it is slightly.
You might remember going into Damp Phase Race.
Yeah, I imagine he'll remember when he does adult CAC checks. Dylan picking up some beans that he's probably not going to need.
Yep.
He plants one right here. Sometimes you can plant one right here at the bean salesman to have a faster trip up the river. But I think since he knows that the scale is there in the graveyard, and that he can take the shortcut, that he's probably not going to care to plant that bean, obviously, since he ran right past it. We'll see what his reaction is to getting the scale, though, in the upper Zora River. Whether or not he thinks he should have come here sooner, we'll see. I think he's routed it in at a fine time, honestly. Definitely happy to be seeing him do this instead of going straight adult. That would have been somewhat unfortunate for him.
Yeah, luckily the seed kind of pushing him in an appropriate direction.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing to say about that is that if he had opted to go towards adult first and then done that Hyrule Castle Fairy and picked up the boomerang, then he might have just skipped going adult there and then turned right back around to go upriver at that point instead. And that would have been more efficient in his case. But not going to happen today, so... and that makes sense, honestly. Given the information that Dylan has, this is definitely the better play. So Sponge clearing out the rest of the graveyard that we've seen Dylan do. He's now going to give us a couple checks that are new in the Dampe race. Probably going to be heading up into Dodongo's Cavern after that. Your reaction to the gold scale there. And yeah, that's huge for him, obviously, because he knows that he can beat one of his required dungeons with that, potentially. So, I'm not sure if he's thinking about it, but if he is, he needs to book it into Dodongo's Cavern and try to find that long shot.
Yeah, I'm sure his mind is racing as he's racing Dampe here, expertly dodging that flame, cutting it close. Dealing with a little bit of shake of the head at that scale. Not much of a reactor. Calm and collected.
Seeing a hint for toilet, by the way. I don't know if Sponge checked that one, but toilet's a small key.
Very nice
toilet
race time.
It's a particular check in the Gerudo training grounds. Affectionately named Janet's toilet because it's just a swirling bunch of water with some junk in it.
Junk is an appropriate term.
Just got some crap floating around, you know. Alright, so Dylan in Zora domain, he's going to be finding his Kokiri sword and his mirror shield and turning in Rudo's letter. And then we'll see him pick up his hookshot in Lake Hylia and probably go adult after that, following Sponge a little bit. The real important thing for Dylan, though, is that he checks that Hyrule Castle Ferry before going adult.
Right, and
because otherwise, he's not going to get it for a while.
Yeah, I'm thinking if he gets the boomerang, considering he's cleared out, 2 checks in CAC, a good chunk of the graveyard, he might opt to grab that boomerang and run back here. Unfortunately, no Serenade, so it's not going to be an easy run.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part about it, is they do know that they won't get Serenade since it's on Burning CAC. There's no way they're going to go for that.
Oh, right, we saw that already.
Yeah. So they'll know that they have to run back up. Dylan doesn't actually know that Jabu's required yet. He hasn't checked the pedestal, so he'll definitely have to do that first before he makes the decision to go back up to Jabu, assuming he does even pick up the boomerang. Sponge did do the domain checks, yes, Gavaroni. Yep. Yeah, we got the mini sword and then the shiny shield here.
SaltySponge, Dodongo's Cavern, 46 minutes. Way of the hero. What are we gonna find?
Oh, just a duplicate Lost Woods Baron hint. What hints are we even missing at this point? I'm looking at my own tracker and I don't think we've seen 50 skulls. And I think one way hero is still missing, and then one sometimes hint.
I think that's right, yeah.
Unless, Star, have you seen all of them? I've got Big Pose, the Water Boss Key, Thawing King Zora, and the Toilet.
Star says they've seen all sometimes hints.
GTG Center. Oh, okay, so we got both of the hints for the Gerudo Training Grounds.
Very nice. As DylanMeeble finding their hookshot in the bottom of the lake.
Definitely happy to see that. Chat coming in clutch, thank you. Alright, so Dylan gonna be setting up his Scarecrow song. He knows that Lake Hylia is way of the hero. He might need that to get the other checks here, even though we did get the hookshot already. Haven't seen quite anything yet here in Dodongo's Cavern. Are we up to 4 ice traps now, though? Yeah, well, there's only 6 in the game, so...
Well, the game might just want to get them all in before TheSaltySponge jets through this.
So where Sponge goes after this is probably going to depend pretty heavily on whatever the way the hero item in here is. It could be something scary like hover boots or something that might indicate that we need to go to Shadow Temple or Deep Fire Temple or something weird. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Or maybe just to get one of the checks in the Shadow Trial for our way to the hero castle. Yeah,
we could even just see like a strength upgrade here for for light trial. So this way of the hero, while it could be very impactful, it might just not come into play until much later.
Well, it's gonna be later into Dongo's Cavern, that's for sure.
Yeah, not many checks left. We're down to just 3 left, I think, right?
Yep.
This one at the end of the bridge, the one right above the king, and then the king himself.
Well,
and there's the log. Okay. So, Sponge just needs magic and light arrows. And the water temple, yeah, I guess he just needs 2 small keys in the water temple because we know where the boss key for that is. We got a hint for it. So we don't need the iron boots confirmed.
The game might not agree with us.
We're in magic mode right now, and we've got a way of the hero Ganon's castle, so... If that's not pointing towards our light arrows to some extent, then that might just be for our magic that we need. Now, granted, the light arrows could just be in, like, Shadow Temple, and then they need to find Din's Fire and Hovers as well.
Right. DylanMeeble grabbing his slingshot, putting Goma into logic.
And chat pointing out, we could definitely still need irons. You're right. We might need them for an item. Just we won't need them to beat Water Temple.
Certainly not to get inside.
The way the hero can't go directly to lights, but it could be for an item that does lead to light arrows, for example. It would be an indirect path.
Yeah. Now, grabbing that long shot, as you said, TheSaltySponge's route heavily depending on what he grabbed out of here. I think he grabs that gold scale and walks all the way down to Lake Hylia, clearing out that way of the hero, and clearing out
really
looking for that Water Temple boss key.
So you just saw Sponge try to store a ground jump off that bomb flower. He's going to jump and drop a chew right into King Dodongo's mouth here.
Yep.
It's a really cool strat that lets you defeat this boss without a bomb bag or a strength upgrade. So he's going to do the same thing here, store the ground jump off that bomb flower, and then use the ground jump to get just high enough to force feed that chew directly into King Dodongo's throat.
Yeah, I've seen a Twitch chat on more than one occasion arguing with the streamer, "What are you doing in here? You can't kill King Dodongo."
Yep, so the bomb bag is not going to be required. DylanMeeble checking the bomb chew bowling checks.
Yep, clearing out the market. Let's see if he clears out the castle. The other castle. I don't know if have you ever seen double castles Way of the Hero? Hyrule and Ganon?
I cannot say that I have, honestly. It's rare enough to see a Ganon castle Way of the Hero.
An emerald in Dodongo's Cavern.
Dylan making the right play here, getting the boomerang. Very good for him.
Yeah,
very good. Like that would have ended the race right there, I think, if he had opted to skip this check. So we've got a race on our hands still.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan's big advantage being those strength upgrades is TheSaltySponge. I don't know if I've ever seen that one falling into the well.
Down here. Whoops.
Yeah,
can't do that.
Yeah, you can't get inside. Let's see if
So he's got his long shot. He's going to be using that in the graveyard to pick up the gold scale here, and I think he's just going to head right down to the lake and finish that up.
DylanMeeble not even reacting to that boomerang, maintaining his calm and collected attitude.
Quite the poker face, I must say.
Let's see how he reacts to the pedestal. Will he go adult? Will he return back child and opt to clear out the fish? Oh,
Yeah,
we're in sync though.
Yeah, we're gonna be high-fiving in the nether between times here.
And like a relay race, passing off that sword.
Exactly. Yep.
Here, go, 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 go!
I'm pretty sure Sponge knows about it, Toxic. That was where was that hint?
I think that was one of the ones around the Deku Tree. Or the Temple of Time, maybe.
Was it Death Mountain Trail?
Ah.
I was pretty sure that he saw that, but you might be right, chat. You might be right.
It looks like Dylan is marking down his medallions. Knows
Jabu is thought it was Temple of Time, yeah. And some people in chat are saying that as well, so I don't know. Who knows?
And there's two of them, so...
Nope, never mind. Chat disagreeing. We've got two people who are very sure about it on both sides, so... Now I don't know who to believe.
They can both be right.
I'm on the side that they've both seen it, though. I'm pretty sure they've both seen it. That's what I believe. So Sponge is now going back upriver. He knows he needs to beat Jabu. Makes sense. Meanwhile, Dylan's going to be kind of following behind Sponge a little bit and doing the adult cac checks into Dodongo's cavern. Sponge is in a pretty good lead, I think, at this point. That bottom of the well play from Dylan, while it made sense, unfortunately didn't really pay out. It only gave him the silver gauntlets, but those seemingly aren't going to come into play. They could very well still come into play, don't get me wrong. With that Ganon's Castle way of the hero, and the potential for Light Trial, requiring all three of the strength upgrades in the game, he stands to gain some of that edge back, but it does remain to be seen.
Strength 3 locking half the checks inside. We do know outside is barren, so that's not going to help us. But as I said, it might help on the inside.
Right, and you know, that way of the hero could just be logical bait for the Iron Boots, so even if the item is in the Light Trial, it might not even matter. So I would put Sponge at a pretty solid lead here. He's probably feeling pretty good. I know I would be in his position.
Yeah, kind of mentioned earlier, not missing out on those bomb bags that Dylan got in Goron City.
Yeah, haven't needed those at all. The 32s have been serving him nicely. He's still got a pretty decent amount. More than enough to finish the seed, unless he somehow wastes all of them.
So
he's going to be fine.
So one thing I'm just realizing, SaltySponge doesn't have strength. If the boss, if he, oh wait, no, right? There's no way you do the central bow target before the gilded chest, right?
Well, he does know that the gilded chest has the boss key, or at least he should. So he just needs to collect 2 small keys wherever they are.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's only 2 at most that could require strength, 2 checks in Water Temple that could require strength, so he should almost guaranteed be able to get the 2 small keys required.
And strength not required in Ganon's Castle. Minus Light Trial. It'd be real convenient if SaltySponge stumbles on to the light arrows or magic in here. And also, let's see if DylanMeeble remembers the shield grave and gets his hammer. Yeah, there he goes.
Yep, okay. I think he kind of shook his head a little bit, realizing he forgot to open this. We'll see his reaction when he sees the hammer there. Again, it's not really going to matter too much that he missed it, because he can't use the hammer as child, and he's only just now been adult for a little bit of time.
Yeah, it is nicer to have going through Dodongo's cavern.
Yeah, chuckling to himself a little bit.
Sponge riding the elevator up. Salty Sponge got a 47 for his Dampé race time. Let's see if Dylan can match that. I don't think he can best it.
I'm very curious to see how the rest of the seed is going to play out. These hints have got me nervous for these runners. You know, this could end up being a very, very short seed. Like, we could be done in the next 20-30 minutes here, potentially, depending on where the magic and the light arrows are. Or, if they're in a terrible spot, it could just still turn out to be a 4-hour seed that disguised itself as a jet. We've had plenty of those in the past, so... Man.
Outside Ganon's Castle, not the best foolish hint, but Lost Woods is a really good foolish hint, but Spirit Temple is a great foolish hint.
Sponge picking up the eye drops. And Jabu Jabu, those are pointless, we know from a hint. So Dylan has finished up the graveyard checks. Looks like he's going to do the shooting gallery here and then probably head right up into the Dodongos, I imagine. He won't want to put that off for too much longer, given its status as a Way of the Hero location.
Yep, knows where that gold scale is. First place on the line.
You know, I didn't see Sponge pick up a stick upgrade, but I guess that makes sense why he hasn't equipped the sword that he found.
Yep.
When you got 20 sticks to throw around, you don't really need the sword, given that the sticks are stronger than the sword anyway. Because
he also has a princess to throw around too.
True, yeah, she does quite a bit of damage. One-shots those little stingrays.
She's got some junk in that trunk.
That she do.
Going right about 10 skulls. Not forgetting this check here.
I was gonna say, this must be his 10th skull or something, because it's kind of slow to pick up. You normally wouldn't pick it up unless you were specifically trying to get to 10 while you're right next to the house. And yep, that's the 10th one. Nope. Unfortunately, not paying out for Dylan today.
Not the item we're looking for.
See, if you were in Sponge's position, if I would consider not picking up any skulls at all from this point on. That could very well bite him in the butt if the magic ends up there, but at least until he gets a hint about where the light arrows are. He might want to play a bit more aggressive. You don't want to skip checks like here in the dungeon. But
yeah, I'm thinking the ones in Jabu are so quick to get. You have that boomerang.
And it looks like he does skip the 2 free ones right there, so he's thinking similarly, I guess, that he probably doesn't need any of the skull checks. That's a smart gamble, I think, honestly, given how few items he needs and how slow the skull checks end up being when you realize you have to collect 10 of them for even one item. It makes sense to skip them, I think.
Yeah. Now, if DylanMeeble had the spoiler log, it would make sense just to light up the eyes and go inside that skull.
I mean, you say that, Gav, but he could have gotten Boomerang before making his first trip up to Domain. That's really the only potential thing he could have done better in his routing. But, I mean, given the information you have, I don't think you ever make that play to go back into the castle.
Yeah, unless you have like
But,
unless you have like a market way the hero, you got that bomb bag. That would be the only exception, I think.
To go right back in there, yeah, I agree.
After the well.
He definitely feels great about his routing, don't get me wrong, Sponge. But
I'm sure
you know, there is still potential for him to get screwed here. But you're right. He should definitely feel ahead.
I don't know about ahead, but in good shape.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't feel behind. We can say that. Very nice skip on that door there, not needing to pick up the box to hold down that blue switch if you get the right timing. Some very solid execution on both sides here today.
Yeah, always.
You can see why these runners are in the finals.
Yeah, always sucks to see that that skip in Jabu take a couple attempts.
Yeah, for sure.
Dylan's still hunting spiders.
Yeah, he's gonna go all the way to 20, looks like. And again, I don't think we've seen our 50 hint yet.
True.
Yeah, actually, if you're Dylan, I don't think you necessarily feel behind either, because despite his trip into the well only yielding a strength upgrade, with the Ganon's Castle Way of the Hero, like, you can feel pretty good about finding a strength upgrade in the well. Even though it's potentially not going to be required because of bait or whatever, you still feel pretty good about it, I think.
And with that, SaltySponge has taken out Baronade.
Very nice.
64 minutes in, and he has access into Ganon's Castle. That's pretty incredible.
Very nice. Way of the Hero Ganon's Castle going to be in our future here. I wonder what song Sponge is going to get on his way adult. If he even bothers to pick it up, he'll have to jump into the moat to get it.
Right. I mean, he's gonna certainly take the owl from Domain.
Interesting to note that our runners don't have a single warp song. Literally 0 warp songs.
They didn't even check any of the vanilla warp song locations. They checked all the child spots and the windmill.
Yeah, we've spent about probably 80% of this seed as a child. And yeah, like you said, those songs and then the early adult songs not giving us warps either. So Dylan picking up his long shot. He'll be killing the king pretty shortly, not needing to do the fancy tricks that SaltySponge did due to his picking up the bomb bag in Goron City.
Unfortunately,
so he'll actually save a little time.
Will he, given the kind of the sequence of the boss with his, you know, preparing to blow his fire and all that jazz?
Oh yeah, you know, you do have to wait, I think, a little bit compared to being able to blow or throw the bomb right away. So I think it is slightly faster to do it with regular strats, but I could be wrong about that.
I definitely trust you more than I trust myself.
Yeah, Dylan, responding to chat here, Dylan might feel behind, you're right. It's probably a 50-50 in his mind whether or not that strength is going to be required, so it's not something you feel great about, but at least he didn't find nothing in there, you know? And with how early that well was available, he's probably not going to be... I mean, he probably would expect Sponge to do it, honestly, even though Sponge didn't. Like, he wouldn't be... I don't know, actually. It's hard to get into these runners' minds.
Yeah, SaltySponge did pick up his Ocarina of Time, getting Minuet of the Forest, and that's a pretty powerful warp song, depending on where Ganon tells us our light arrows are.
Yeah. Well, it'll be a little longer than 8 minutes, Gab. We do still have to beat Morpha before we can reach Ganondorf to get the hint. Gotta get that boss key so we can get through the door to reach him, so... Sponge is going to have to clear some of Water Temple to find 2 small keys before he can make his way to the vanilla boss key chest, and then he'll be able to slay that tentacle monster known as Morpha.
So, if you're Sponge, do you walk across the field? Do you play Minuet, go through Lost Woods, and then Domain? Oh, wait, no, you can't get from Domain to Lake as adult. Never mind. Unfortunately, we will see the long trek.
Yeah. So knowing that Serenade is on Burning
for that
Keg,
long shot.
Sponge is just gonna book it down. No Epona even to make the trip across Hyrule Field faster. Oh, Sponge is just
That
going
would
right in
be
there.
a
Okay.
Yeah, but
I would have
Epona
figured
Song
he would
be
go for.
pretty handy in the forest, in Sacred Forest.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering, is if Sponge was gonna play Minuet to get the song there and gamble on it being Epona. You know it's not going to be Serenade because that's hinted at already as being on Burn Kakariko. But it's not likely that Epona's there, so I think it makes sense for him to not worry about it. I think Sponge might not be considering that he needs the boss key, but he might just be checking stuff here because it's Way of the Hero.
Yep.
When I say need the boss key, he needs the boss key to reach the hint for the light arrows, but it's possible he's just here doing checks hoping to find magic or whatever is Way of the Hero in here.
If it's Iron Boots, it's good news for Dylan. But if you're in here looking for your Way of the Hero, do you go up to the Gilded Chest? Kind of a gamble. Definitely a time sink without that key.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you come up here all the way to the boss key chest without the key, then you're gonna have to climb again, and well, it's not huge. It is a pretty significant chunk of time. There's a lot of stairs in this tower here.
Yeah. Slingshot, that's not gonna be Way of the Hero.
Yeah, and chat bringing up some good points. It's definitely good to know whether or not the Way of the Hero is available, or if he needs gold gauntlets. That way he knows if he needs to still do checks while he's clearing Water Temple, or on the way to Water Temple, or if he can just go mode the entire dungeon and then book it right back here to slay the pig.
Yeah, very considerate to our viewing audience. Alright, there is the nut upgrade. Swinging the heaviest sack you can.
Yeah, and after Water Trial here, Sponge just has the first check in Shadow Trial, and then that boss key chest is the only things left that he can actually do with his current equipment loadout.
Yeah, no fire source.
Yeah, no hover boots or fire source to get him all the way across Shadow Trial to the second chest there, and no gold gauntlets to enter Light Trial. And there it is, Iron Boots. Okay, so good news for Dylan. That means our magic is still gonna be somewhere out there in the world, and that'll give Dylan some time to catch back up. If he happens upon it sooner, then he could take the lead right away.
Even more so if he manages to just skip that Ganon's Castle Way of the Hero in.
Very true, yeah.
Seeing that his Ganon's key, or not his Ganon's key, his water boss key is accessible.
Sponge opting to climb. We'll see if he goes all the way to the boss door without realizing that he needs the key. Or if this is just a trip up to the boss key chest.
Yeah, I would feel pretty bad, especially no furrows win, no magic.
Yeah, it would certainly be a bit of a waste of time, but again, not too bad. It's just a minute or so of extra climbing. Alright, where are you going, Sponge? Off to the Minuet of Forest. So he's going to pick up a song here. Well, I guess he's probably going to go make his way to the lake from here. maybe he's just going to play some more songs. Prelude's a pretty good one to pick up. Yeah, I'm curious to see where Sponge is going to go now.
Yeah.
He did at least remember that he doesn't have the boss key, so that was good. So I imagine he's just going to go across the field now. He was probably just warping to Minuet, hoping to pick up Epona's song, like we were talking about before, because now he just has to walk across the field, which is it takes quite a while. Hyrule Field's pretty big.
Oh, he's taking those Way the Hero iron boots and taking them over to Tectite Grotto.
Yep, he'll be able to put those to work if there's an item in there.
Unfortunately, with those scales accessible, the iron boots aren't Way the Hero for that. Definitely for the Water Temple.
I think Sponge is mostly didn't go water first because he wanted to know if he should do checks along the way to Water Temple, and including like the Way the Hero like Hylia checks that he has remaining. That would probably be the only reason I could think of to go Ganon's first before beating Water Temple and getting the key, so you can get the hint. That and the Way of the Hero could have just been magic, and then you get to skip everything. So if that's mostly what he was hoping on, I think, is that the Way of the Hero in Castle was the magic, and that would let him skip everything on his way to beating Morpha.
Yep. Just looking for the magic.
Yeah, so since he doesn't have that magic, he now has to check everything basically along the way, because magic could be essentially anywhere.
Also missing a Way the Hero hint, so might pick it up. Nope, not there.
Oh. Was that our second Hyrule Castle Way of the Hero hint? We might see a third for it, honestly. We had 2 required items there, so...
Lord Banana the Boomerang and the song that looks like the boomerang. Extra quiver, not too bad before Ganon.
I didn't even notice that when Sponge picked it up. That's nice. Yeah, so in Sponge's position, Chat's kind of discussing where he should go next after, cleaning up the obvious stuff here in the lake and Water Temple and then getting the hint. Bottom of the Well is definitely a strong play in his mind, just because it's a very dense location that was available early. But, who knows? GTG is also available for them. Sponge probably won't go there since he doesn't have silvers. Dylan does, though. Dylan, I think, has the ability to full clear Gerudo Training Grounds right now.
Yep.
So who knows, he might opt to do that while hunting for magic before Sponge does. That strength upgrade could be key in that regard, if it convinces Sponge to avoid GTG for long enough.
SaltySponge, though, not convinced that the hook shot at the lake as child was our Way of the Hero here.
Mm-hmm. Trading a big fish for a big stick. Alright.
Big octo down for DylanMeeble.
I love that shield slide on the little spike wall.
Oh yeah, swag strats.
So cool. Alright, gonna get a peek at this item on top of the lab here in the Lake Hylia. Just a piece of heart up there, as it is in vanilla. And it's gonna be able to do the lab dive check as well. This is our second to last check here in Lake Hylia, I believe. If you have just shoot the sun remaining, which I imagine Sponge will be checking as soon as he beats Morpha.
Alright, DylanMeeble facing off against Baronade. SaltySponge with a very clean fight.
Yeah, Sponge not getting any Skulltulas, it seems like. I don't know if he... I know he got one in Deku Tree. I didn't really watch him pick up many after that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So he's actually... Like, Dylan's probably spent a good several minutes at this point picking up Skulltulas that Sponge has not spent at all, so... If 20 skulls ends up being pointless, then Sponge is going to be in a very good position, I think. Yes, Ela, it is. So... Yeah, we've had a bit of a jet, potentially. But, you know, the magic could troll us, the light arrows could troll us, we could find out that they're deep as heck in Shadow Temple or something, which we can't even enter. So... Given the position we're in, I'd say we have about 2 hours left to complete the seed, given that it's a star seed, you know. It appears jet at first, and then it throws a wrench at you.
Yeah, essentially the whole world opened to them with that early Rudo's letter, with the exception of the Shadow Temple.
So we haven't seen 20, Ela, but we have seen that Sponge is not collecting any more Skulltulas, so if something is there, it could be big. Yeah, Dylan has both Child Goron City and Bottom of the Well over Sponge, each of which had a strength upgrade, although I guess the strength upgrade in Goron City, Sponge will get as an adult.
Maybe.
But yeah, Sponge is probably in the lead for now. It will come down to the magic and the light arrows, but as it stands right now, Sponge is ahead of Dylan on progression.
Now let's see where Dylan heads next. If they go into Ganon's Castle, if they go straight to the Water Temple, knowing where their boss key is. There's the second key for SaltySponge.
Yeah, I've often thought about that, Gavaroni, whether it is faster to go back into Domain and dive to the lake, or if it's faster to save, quit, and walk like he's doing here. I've never actually seen anyone time it, but I feel like it's got to be kind of close.
Here's a question. Can you get to the Gilded Chest without draining the water?
If you have the keys, you sure can.
So I'm guessing maybe SaltySponge didn't see that, unless he's hoping for a clutch magic here.
Did he have a second key before lowering the water? Interesting.
Yeah, he got his second one in the cracked wall without lowering the water.
Interesting. Yeah, he might be just opting to do this dungeon for checks, too. Which, if you're feeling ahead, I could see doing Water Temple checks. Normally, you don't necessarily want to spend much time in the Water Temple if you can avoid it. And it looks like he is going to go for the boss key chest here, so... We'll get to see some fancy jumps here as he enters this next room. He doesn't have hover boots, so he's got to do a specific setup to just barely make the jump to the gap in the wall here. And perfect first try every time. Nice. And Dylan looks like he's going to be heading back adult, so yeah, let's see. Ganon's castle or water temple? What's it gonna be, Dylan?
Will we go straight to the Sacred Forest Meadow?
Dylan also opting to walk out a Temple of Time rather than warp to Minuet right away. A perfectly fine choice.
Thinking he's going to the, way of the hero, Ganon's castle.
Yep, off he goes. So with this equipment loadout, he'll be in the same position as Sponge in terms of the checks that he can do. So he'll just get the iron boots before being locked out of any further progression. We will see if he opts to climb up to the boss key chest. He might skip that, which would probably save him a chunk of time over Sponge, who, speaking of, has picked up his boss key and raised the water back up to the top, so he's going to be slaying Morpha here in the next minute or so, which means we're going to be seeing our light arrow hint.
And he's going to be high-fiving DylanMeeble here inside the castle.
That's right.
Very clean fight against the boss door.
Gonna see some bow extension to have an arrow slip through the wall there so you can hit that crystal switch and get into Spirit Trial. Well, we've got some dead time and there's more of a cutscene. I just want to give a special shout out to Arthur Houdini, who has put together some amazing tutorial videos for getting into OOT Rando. If you like what you see here, you think you'd have fun trying it out, but are intimidated by some of the tricks or something, Arthur's got some amazing videos that make it really easy to pick some things up. So he's here in the chat. Arthur Houdini, thank you so much. Give his channel a peek.
Playing randos all the time. Real talented, real knowledgeable. Love having him in the commentator's booth.
Absolutely, yes. And Sponge going to be checking Shoot the Sun here, our final check in Lake Hylia, Way of the Hero. Is it going to be our magic? Let's see.
Drum roll, please.
And not today. Just some arrows. The arrow he shot just fell right back down onto the platform.
Nice trial done for DylanMeeble, not feeling happy. Will they opt to go up to the Gilded Chest?
Yeah, let's see. Oh, he's still got Shadow Trial, I think, yeah. And, yep, then he'll be heading up. We'll see, we'll see. Sponge gonna be heading back up, so like you said, they're gonna be high-fiving here.
And climbing these stairs, it's gonna look like Dylan with a slight lead. TheSaltySponge, the one with the boss key to get his light arrow hint. But now's the time to get your guesses in chat. Where do you think our light arrows are going to be in Hyrule? We know they're not going to be in the Lost Woods.
I know I'm hoping for Deep Shadow.
Yep.
Where I think they're going to be, I'm guessing they're going to show up in GTG.
Forest Temple.
But I hope for Shadow. Preferably on Bongo Bongo, you know.
Oh, and TheSaltySponge taking an axe to the head.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. He's one hit from death now. He's definitely playing it safe here in these final hits. And he cleans it up. Very nice.
2 staircases to go.
So Dylan basically following the exact path that Sponge took here. He's dipped into the trials, got his iron boots. He's now he done played Minuet to pick up the song there, which was Prelude. Then played Prelude, and now he's probably going to be heading across the field to get towards the lake. We'll see if he opts to do all of the field checks along the way too.
Yep, essentially the exact same route, with the exception of Child Goron City and the bottom of the well.
Yeah, that's really the only divergence we've had, was Dylan's choosing to do those 2 places. And funny enough, they both had strength upgrades. They just haven't mattered, those strength upgrades, at least so far. And by the way, we got our hint. Zora's Fountain is our light arrow location, so we have the ability to get them. Full stop.
And could, I guess could the iron boots be Way of the Hero for that?
Absolutely, they could be.
Wow.
They're already Way of the Hero because they're logically required to beat Water Temple, but they are needed for that 1 check at the very bottom of the fountain as well. So
33% chance.
Yes, indeed. So the real question then is, where do you go after that? Do you find magic on the way? Well, if you do, you're done. But if not, where do you go if you're Sponge?
I think as long as you're there, you peek your head into Ice Cavern.
Yeah, you got to clear out Ice Cavern while you're there, right? Like, you've made the trek all the way up there. It's easy checks that you can do. The song's almost certainly not gonna matter, but it'll let you
I was
warp
going to say worst
somewhere,
case
probably.
scenario, you get a good warp song that's going to take you into the crater, maybe across to the desert.
True, very true, yeah.
And DylanMeeble making the exact same plays. Tektite Grotto, Remote Grotto.
And there's that second Hyrule Castle hint we saw before from Sponge.
Both still missing that Way of the Hero. I bet one of them's gonna be in the fountain here, if he's still checking hint stones.
Okay, so it's about, what, 7 checks up here total. We know one of the 3 in the fountain is going to be the light arrows. Sorry, 8 checks total. No, sorry, 7. I forgot about King Zora at first, but so I bumped it up to 8. But then I remembered he's hinted at already, so back down to 7 we go. 3 here in the fountain, and then 4 in Ice Cavern.
Oh wow, it is double Way of the Hero, Hyrule Castle. Zora's hiding our last hint stone.
Of course, okay. So
you called
fun, it. Yeah, that's funny. Not really gonna matter, but the runners will still feel kind of annoyed by it, honestly. If they feel like they made a good play picking up that boomerang, then they'll be annoyed to see that for sure.
Dylan saving a little bit of time with that planted bean here in Lake Hylia. Won't have to confirm his Scarecrow song.
And I believe those were the light arrows out there on the iceberg. Sponge is still going to sink down here, and is that big Goron sword down there? It looks like something long. I don't know if he's going to bother picking it up.
Doesn't look like it, but that wouldn't be a terrible idea.
Yeah, you know, with just one boss left to kill, the Goron sword is probably not going to even save him the amount of time it would take to sink all the way down there and float back up, so it kind of makes sense to skip if that is indeed what it was down there.
Yeah, I guess just getting time on the Ganondorf.
Yeah,
so-
it does essentially guarantee you the 1 cycle on Phantom Ganon, but Sponge is probably pretty confident enough that he could get the 1 cycle with Master Sword that he didn't care to take the time to go down there. Or, it could have just been an arrow refill and my eyes deceived me. Either way.
Oh, I like this play from SaltySponge.
Very cool, very cool.
He's gonna save quit in there. He's gonna save his location, and I assume he's going somewhere else that's more dense. Maybe GTG. Maybe
So
Forest
he's
Temple.
making a copy of his save file, is what he's doing. He actually did copy his save file
Oh.
over to an empty slot, so that he has a save warp location inside Ice Cavern. So if he
Yeah.
ever decides later in his routing that he needs to come back here, he'll just go use that file.
I don't think I've ever seen that. In
That's a cool
race.
strat. Yeah, it's not used commonly, but it's a very cool strat for when you need to. It's like a pseudo Furor's Wind, essentially.
Yeah. Can't
So-
use that in my other favorite Zelda randomizer, Zelda 1.
Yeah, you need a second save for that, unfortunately. So, it looks like Sponge is going to be going into the Goron City area here. He hasn't really done any checks in that area, so he'll pick up the strength in the maze here, and then probably
Yeah.
make his way into the crater and do the trail area, all that stuff.
And I'll also pick up that other check in the maze on the left that Dylan did not grab.
Yeah, very true. He did have that one left in there that you can't quite get his child. So
Right.
Gav, what it's gonna do is when he has cleared like most of the game and wants to go back to Ice Cavern, he'll just use that file to check it, because you don't need anything else at this point.
Oh,
And it's Link the Goron! Holy cow, Drunus! Are you a wizard?
Hopping off. I don't know. I think that was a commentator's blessing from you.
Wow, so this is probably the fastest seed we've had.
Not quite.
SGL.
I rolled a faster
Not
one
quite.
earlier this week.
Oh, okay, so what was the finish time on that one? That fast one?
Hour 36.
Okay, so yeah, they're not gonna
don't
beat
think
that one
Sponge
in a
is
minute and a
quite
half.
beating that.
That's close
No.
though. He's gonna be done in the next 5 minutes or so here. That's
Yeah, with
Yeah,
that 20-minute
was
delay, he
nuts.
is already hype. He's enjoying that
yeah.
feeling
He's
of
probably
first place.
here watching.
Yeah.
Everyone congratulate Sponge now. He's in here watching. Hi Sponge, GG.
Oh yeah, GG's. Hopping in here now that we're in actual no mode and are going to be done in just a few minutes. I'd never rolled a sub 2 seed before this week. Like I'd come close once or twice, but I'd never rolled a sub 2 seed, and then this happened.
All
had
depends
3 in 1
on
week.
your settings. That was kind of an attempt, as well as making Ganon's Castle kind of more valuable, higher percentage of being useful. Also, we didn't want 4-hour seeds through this tournament. We had some time crunches and all that jazz. So perfect showcase for the final for these settings. Ganon's Castle, Way of the Hero, and a sub 2-hour seed. Wow.
Indeed, for reference,
Incredible.
both of the other jet seeds I rolled were received by the person who Dylan beat to get to finals. Keizo Bro got a 147 and a 139 in 2 of my other seeds this week.
You roll some good ones
He
occasionally.
lost the 139 one to his opponent who did it in an hour 36. When he finished in sub 140, but still lose. This is best of 1 CCX. With a week long Friday frame, there's just nowhere near enough time to do best of 3 OTR.
Yeah, unfortunately OTR is a little bit too long for that, but
Yeah.
Here we are, 1 hour 36 minutes and a half. SaltySponge is at the Ganondorf fight. And guessing maybe Dylan is forgetting about where that boss key is.
I know for a fact
no, he got it, didn't he?
Oh.
he
I
definitely
watched
saw a
him.
hint.
Yeah, I watched him go up towards it. I'm pretty sure he has it already. I think he's just
Alright,
doing
yeah,
checks,
0
hoping for
keys.
magic.
Probably, yeah.
Not too shabby. These are
happened to be
pretty
some
quick
excellent
checks.
routing from Sponge, choosing to go after Ice Cavern to go to Goron City, and that paid out immediately.
Yes, indeed, and yeah, overall, Sponge's routing just was spectacular. Like from the early game to the end, he went in pretty much the perfect order.
For reference,
from that trip of river. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Questions from Chad. I am the third person in the comms channel now. I have been in and out a couple of times. I am the seed roller. August and I have been two of the admins for this whole tournament, and I am also the person. I was also tracking throughout much of this.
Yeah, here we go, though.
Big
1
thank you
hour
for that, by the way.
37 minutes in. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Ganon.
Sponge fighting him with quite possibly the fewest items I've seen in ages. No bomb bag, no strength upgrades. He's a weak boy going in to fight the strongest enemy in the game. But somehow I think he'll be just fine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Despite Ganon being a cheap piggy and knocking that Master Sword away, SaltySponge smart enough to store that jump slash.
Yes, indeed. Able to take advantage of that power crouch stab glitch to knock Ganon out of phase 1 in just 3 hits.
Yeah, blink and you might miss it. Barrier has been dispelled, now reunited with that Master Sword. Princess Zelda still standing helplessly beside.
Yeah, Princess Zelda really not being of much use to see. They did not need her songs. Just needed a boss key off light arrow cutscene, and for her to eventually help out at some point in this fight versus Ganon.
Here we go, phase 2 is it down. Princess Zelda now lending her magical abilities, imbuing the Master Sword with something or other. And we will be served up a tasty portion of bacon with a slicing and a dicing from TheSaltySponge, coming in first place.
Let's go, SaltySponge! GG, the new SGL champion of Zelda Ocarina of Time Rando.
Indeed.
Hell yeah, my dude. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Yep. So proud.
139.19.
Taking the crown from our last year's champion. What the hell has happened in Canada? Bringing it back to the United States. Let's get these racers in here for a post-race interview. They put on an amazing final match for us.
Absolutely, and Dylan has opted to call it quits.
Yep, can't blame him there. He will be taking home the second place prize, $404, but the SaltySponge doubling up that with a first place prize of $808, 40% of the total prize pool that was raised last year in combination with the bonus from SpeedGaming, with a total of $2,020 this year.
Indeed, we had $1,000 from SpeedGaming for this being a main tournament, and then an additional $1,020 in donations.
Everybody is a winner.
Indeed, we do have Dylan here in the waiting room. I'll go tow him up, and we'll see if we can get Sponge in as well.
GG.
Hey, Dylan. GG's.
Hey.
So take us through some of your routing, some of your thinking through that very quick, very hype finals match.
I don't. It was much jettier than I was hoping for, but can't really complain. I don't know. I think I routed pretty well. It seemed like the only thing extra I did was well.
Yeah, that and Child Goron City were really the only two differences in your guys' route throughout the entirety of the seed. Everything else you guys both ended up doing in like maybe a slightly different order, but
yeah, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, Sponge is now in the waiting room. I'll go tow him up. Well,
yeah, I'm not sure how he managed to do it, but kind of after that Saria song, came out of Kokiri Force and went up to Zora's River while you were getting that strength upgrade in Goron City and then going down into the well. And other than that,
GG's
made
the Salty
this
Sponge, welcome.
Same plays.
GG's,
we
grats,
have the
dude.
Salty Sponge in here.
Yep, thank you. GG, Dylan. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. Can't be too mad.
I don't know. Like, do you see? I made the file copy in Ice Cavern and just went to link the Goron. Stumbled upon magic. Oh, and for those of you in chat who are asking, the file copy actually does make a difference if you find items for dungeons that you don't have yet, i.e., strength upgrades. It allows you to save warp without any fear of losing your save in Ice Cavern because you only need magic. So if those items don't lead to magic, then you don't need them.
Yeah.
That was for sure a great play. Unfortunately, ended up not really mattering. It would have been cool to see you take advantage of that file copied save location in there, but then the magic just kind of showed up anyway. So.
Yeah.
Even if we did the exact same play up to that point, I would have cleared ice. So he would have pulled out the win anyway.
Well, hey, the second magic could have been in there.
It could have been, yeah.
Who knows? Now let's be real.
both-
It's in Shadow Temple like it always is.
Yeah, we both made the same play of hoping it was in Ganon's and just finding the iron boots. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we were curious to talk to you guys about your thoughts when making that choice to go up there before beating Water Temple. Did you talk us through what you were thinking?
I'm just an idiot.
Fair.
Nah, I'm like, Way of the Hero, one item missing. Go mode.
That's pretty much what we were thinking, yeah, because if that was the magic in there, you could have skipped everything on the way to Water Temple and beating Water Temple, so, it did make some sort of sense to go up there, but at the same time, it probably would have been more efficient maybe to get the light arrow hint at the same time as your first trip there. Who knows? Rando's weird sometimes, so...
Yeah, those scales.
You can't really
paying
fault
off.
either play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scale in the river ended up being pretty darn big for you, Sponge. That was a great find, huh?
Shoutouts to Spike. Dude gets explosives early on and goes river like every single seed. I'm like, you know what? Lake's Way of the Hero, let's go grab a bean real quick. And then it just snowballed into chaos.
I guess
You never got strikes, you never got bomb picks.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to start calling that play the Spike Vegeta play.
It works out sometimes, as evidenced here.
Sure it does.
Yeah, I guess that's what the exact thing you were thinking after getting Saria's song.
Yeah, it was pretty much
Goron City.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, we had Dodongo's Way of the Hero, so I'm like, you know what? If Boomerang's just chilling in Dodongo's, I can do this stuff. I can route this stuff in before I go to Jabu. Say I get a scale in adult, like I don't have to do this now. I can do this later. So I decided, all right, well, I'm going to do this. Then I saw Lake Way of the Hero, and I'm like, all right, well, now I kind of have to route through Child Lake here. But I'm gonna make sure I get a bean first.
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention that specifically because it was right after the FPA ended that you got that Lake Way of the Hero. So you had a good 5 minutes of time to plan out your route, and then all of a sudden, here's this new info that is just gonna shake things up.
Yeah.
So, did that end up changing your mind?
Yes.
A bit from what you had planned?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
my plan was to just go straight adult, and then like I said.
Wow.
Yeah, probably the same for me too. Except I went Goron City into Well instead of straight to river.
Hey,
But
we're
and
thinking
honestly,
the one play that might have saved you after the Well is if there was a Market Way of the Hero, that might have pushed you into the Boomerang before going up to the river, but it did not work out that way. The seed.
Yeah, Sponge, I don't know if you heard or saw that, but Child Goron City had 2 bomb bags. Not just one, but 2.
Yes!
Yeah.
Darunia.
Spinning Pot and Darunia both had bomb bags for us.
Yes, also the
as
Goron
well-
City Maze had a strength upgrade, and the Well had the other.
Yeah, that's the thing about your
And,
routing differences is if those strength upgrades had come into play, say with that light trial, if Ganon's Castle Way of the Hero, then Dylan easily could have been in the better position with that bit of routing difference of going to the Well into Goron City. So it's interesting that the seed played out the way it did. And again, I am still extremely curious where that other magic is.
Do we have does the spoiler log unlock after this?
No, I don't believe so, unfortunately.
Shucks.
We generally don't like to unlock them. So unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing spoiler log. This was one of the fastest seeds of the tourney. And you're actually discussing briefly near the end, once you saw the magic, how if this was the fastest. I originally thought not, because I did roll an hour 36 seed earlier this week. But with that FPA, I think it actually might be.
Yeah, but that is it for the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Tournament for Speed Gaming Live 2020. Special shout outs to Speed Gaming and all the staff for hosting this event. Special shout outs to Miss Metroid for hosting or helping with the wildcard event for like overnight 12 hours or so.
Absolutely.
And thanks to all our racers for racing the races. Make sure you go give them a follow. Check out the VODs if you missed any of the hype races over the last week. Thanks to Star1468 for helping me with some administrative duties and rolling all the sometimes wonderful seeds.
Sometimes absolutely terrible.
And, thanks to all our commentators, all our volunteers, all the trackers behind the scenes. Thanks, Namaha, for joining me for this final matchup.
Absolutely, and you as well, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you to August for being my co-admin. We actually have a list of people to shout out as well. Shout outs to all of the SG staff, Feasel, Miss Metroid, Adirondack Rick, JC, Mind of Me, Tubasa, and everyone else, to Dark Moon EX, who's been helping out with a lot of things behind the scenes, and to all of the other SGL attorney admins we have. Shout out to, we have one gold ticket holder, Bufin Boom. Alright. To our top donors, Namaha, Derpcat 9K, Eligachua, and DylanMeeble. Shout outs also to Mama Sheepy, who's been a fantastic help with commentary, especially this tournament. And to Jawith and Glassies for helping out with background music and the Perler prizes for this.
Yeah, racers, do you have any final thoughts about the tournament, about moving forward for Season 4, about your Speed Gaming Live experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm really happy that I made it to finals, and I can't be too mad about that seed. And super big congratulations, Sponge. And yeah, really looking forward to Season 4. Maybe we get a rematch in Season 4 finals.
That would be something. Yeah, GG, Dylan. This whole tournament has been a lot of fun. A lot of really stressful matches and a lot of really hyped matches along the way. So thanks so much for organizing it. And hopefully next year we'll have everything full go again.
Yeah, GG's and congratulations to Sponge for first place and Dylan for second.
And if you missed the hype semifinals, a little bit of spoilers regarding the winners, of course. But I do encourage you to check out that matchup that was aired earlier this morning on Speed Gaming.
Correct.
Well, that'll do us. Thanks again. And of course, if you'd like to get involved in the Ocarina of Time Randomizer, we've got a whole community that would love to welcome you in there, help you get started. But
yeah,
that
I
will
posted
do us.
The Discord and Twitch chat, so you can go check that out.
Yeah, and again, thanks for tuning in. But there's still plenty of action coming up here on Speed Gaming Live, finishing up the last few of our tournaments and the marathon. So hit that schedule button, check out some of the awesome entertainment here. I've been August 40th, joined by Namaha, Star, tracking behind the scenes. I'm going to butcher the other tracker's name, to Jonga. And
Perfect.
And yeah, that will be us. We'll hope to see you here next year.
Thank you for
Can't
watching.
wait.
Hello, this is JC. So August and Star already did most of the thank yous I wanted to do, but definitely want to thank you for the enormous work you've done for us for Uter. Since a lot of us staff members were not terribly familiar with everything, but thank you for doing all the reaching out and coordinating with people that we normally don't get to reach out with. On top of the list of the shout outs for our donors and our volunteers, we also want to thank Dan from Racetime and the Racetime.gg staff. They've done tremendous work for us to make new features for us to actually do these races in a fairly automated fashion. It's like we've had over 160 races throughout the week in just the group stages. So a lot of bending back and forth and a little bit of automation was incredibly helpful. In a few hours, we're going to see another crowd control race, a link to the past randomizer. We had a bunch of short little races throughout the week, and it's been amazing working with Kat and the rest of the crowd control and Warp World team on getting that going. So you'll have one final chance to do that in order to help fund next year's tournaments. And then on behalf of SpeedGaming, SaltySponge, good job. This would be the point where I'd hand you a trophy, but I kind of can't reach through the network and do that, so we'll get that worked out.
Sounds good.
And Zenstar gave us an extremely short seed. We're now scrambling to find a match to fit on right now before Link to the Past starts up in an hour.
Oh, that couldn't be the case at all.
But Dylan, you want to run it back real quick?
See how fast you can speedrun this seed.
Careful what you volunteer for.
I'm not sure. I saw 3 lucky seeds after a bunch of troll seeds. I'm not sure we can push our luck this time.
No, I mostly tend to roll terrible seeds. I rolled an average seed this morning for our standard weekly.
Looks like...
yeah, no guarantee it'd be anything remotely decent.
It looks like we've got word Mega Man X semifinals coming up after this.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
All right, so we're gonna sign off and have some more 100% action on Mega Man X. And wow, to those runners, that's a tough game. So thank you all for stopping by. Thanks for all the support throughout the years, especially this week, making this sort of event happen. And we're super excited to hopefully be able to do this again live next year. And before I sign up, we do have another marathon coming up in a few weeks, the SNES Superstars. So you do have some time to sign up for that. I'll launch that command in chat for more information and for that submission link.
I just did the command. Nice.
All right, thank you much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's go watch some Mega Man.
All right.